Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell coming to you from my dining room in Arlington, Massachusetts, where it is a gray and cold day outside but warm inside. I hope wherever you are the sun is shining because it is certainly not shining in Arlington, Massachusetts. Today I'd like to talk to you about one of the most common symptoms, if you will, in all of life, namely anxiety. Now, anxiety is not altogether a bad thing. If you don't worry at all, if you never feel any anxiety whatsoever, that's not good. Anxiety is sort of the mental equivalent of pain. It lets you know you're in danger. It's called signal anxiety. It's sort of the equivalent of a car alarm. You know, your mind is telling you danger is getting near. If you don't feel any anxiety ever, if you never worry, we have a word for that. It's called denial. And people who don't worry, who don't feel anxiety, are denying there's danger. The notorious example is people who deny they have an addiction, and they get into all kinds of trouble. But then there are people who worry and feel anxiety when there is no danger. The car alarm goes off when no one is near the car. And that's the sort of your fear system run amok. That's when nature's alarm system runs wild. And this is what I call toxic worry. So you have good worry, worry that leads to problem solving, worry that serves you well, worry that alerts you when there's danger. And then you have toxic worry, worry that ties you up in knots, worry that paralyzes you. And that's what I want to give you some pointers on how to deal with, because that's the maybe the most common problem in all of mental health. This sort of low-level, brooding, anxious, unpleasant feeling of I'm in danger, I'm not quite happy, I know there's nothing exactly to worry about, or there's a whole host of things to worry about. There's money, there's relationships, there's the economy, there's politics, there's global warming, there's terrorism, there's, mice in my basement, whatever you might conjure up to worry about. There's a long list that we can all, but none of them is imminent, and yet they prey upon you. So what do? High on the list of visits to primary care physicians is this sort of generalized anxiety. And a lot of people get put on medication. It's a common use of SSRIs, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Well, I urge you not to use those right away. They have side effects, and I think it's much better to try a non-medication approach. And, some of you who are familiar with my work know my favorite remedy comes from my old teacher, Dr. Tom Gutheil, who used to tell us when we were in training, he said, never worry alone. Find someone to talk to. Now, obviously, you want to pick the right person. Don't pick your worst enemy to go worry with. But pick someone you trust and worry with that person. You don't even really have to talk about the problem at hand. You can talk about something else. You take your mind off it, and suddenly you get a fresh look at it, and you feel better. So you don't necessarily have to bring up what you're worried about. Sharing a problem with another person instantly makes you feel better. The analogy I like to use is if you're in a big dark warehouse by yourself, you get paranoid, you get terrified. If you're in a big dark warehouse with somebody, you laugh. You feel the danger diminishes. The external reality hasn't changed at all. So carry that remedy around with you everywhere. Never let the sun set on an unshared worry. And then the next step is to get the facts. Toxic worry is rooted in lack of information, or wrong information, or both. And in today's world, we're just swimming in wrong information. the internet is wonderful and it's horrible because it's just filled with wrong information. It's also filled with right information. The problem is it doesn't come with tags saying this is right and this is wrong. So you have to have ways of sorting it out. And that's why experts make such a big difference. Try to have somebody with whatever the topic might be that's your go-to person. Is this credible? Is this reliable? You have your go-to doctor, your go-to financial expert, your go-to travel expert, your go-to restaurant expert, whatever it might happen to be, your go-to relationship expert. Try to have experts in different areas. And then once you have the information, you want to make a plan. Even if the plan doesn't work, that doesn't matter. Life is all about revising plans. If you have those 3 steps, never worry alone, get the facts, make a plan, you can pretty much throw that Prozac prescription away. Now, there are times when you will need medication for bona fide anxiety disorders, panic attacks, generalized anxiety disorder, sometimes post-traumatic stress disorder. There are times when medication is indicated, but most of the time it's not. And we live in an era that over relies on medication and under relies on human contact. The need for human contact is greater than ever, and the availability of human contact has not diminished. It's just that people aren't turning to it out of fear, out of people being in a hurry, out of people not knowing each other, feeling uncomfortable, feeling shy, feeling reticent, whatever the reason. We're not using it nearly as much as we should. So, I urge you to find places you can go where you know people. Maybe it's a gym. Maybe it's a local tavern, maybe it's a church or a synagogue. Maybe it's a golf course, or maybe it's a bowling alley. Maybe it's a restaurant or a deli. Maybe it's a Starbucks. Maybe it's a mall. Maybe it's just a street, a town. You walk around, get out and be seen. Get to know faces. You'd be amazed what a difference that makes, and just sort of down regulates the kind of worry and anxiety you'll carry with you. You will dose up on what I call the other vitamin C, Vitamin Connect. The first chapter of Malcolm Gladwell's great book, Outliers, talks about this little town in Pennsylvania where all of this, basically, the people from a little town in Italy transposed themselves to a little town in Pennsylvania. And they had almost no disease, and they couldn't figure out why, because they ate, drank, and they didn't have any particularly healthy habits, except they had each other. And what they had was massive doses of vitamin C, and they proved this power of connection was incredibly health-giving and life-extending. And George Valiant's great grant study proved the same thing. All the studies show that this is the life-extending factor, not only life-extending, but good feeling factor that everyone underestimates. So if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, connect. You'll get rid of the toxic worry feeling, and you'll enjoy doing it. Well, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell wishing you a wonderful day.